Hi friends, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. So question for you. If you were to win the lottery today, who would you tell? Would you tell the whole world? Would you only tell a few select people, or would you tell no one? That's the subject of today's video, and this topic comes up because there's a really interesting article in the Business Insider today. It was about a guy named Tim who actually won the Powerball jackpot, and he talks about sort of how his life has changed, decisions that he made, and sort of if he would do things differently. And in life, you can actually learn a lot from other people's experiences, so when you run into this kind of experience, you'll know what to do. His point of view was better off keep it private. And essentially what he said was that when he won the lottery, he was all over the news, all his friends and family knew about it, and then suddenly lots and lots of strangers know about it also. And the way he describes the situation is that he felt like he was a walking ATM. Now, for those of you who haven't won the lottery, you may not necessarily fall into that much money so quickly, but there are many people who watch this channel that maybe come from a modest background, get a really good job, and everyone in your family knows you've got a good job, right? Or you've done really well in the market, be it your stocks, be it your crypto. Some people make a lot of money on crypto, these kind of things. And again, maybe a lot of people know this, and everyone knows you've got money. One thing that Tim said, or I thought was fascinating, was saying that when you go out to dinner with, say, friends or family, and they all know you got money, you feel sort of morally obligated to pay for everything, right? Because you're in a better situation than everyone else, right? So why not? You want to share the love, share the wealth with friends and family. The issue becomes is how long can you sustain that, right? And do you really like that feeling of sort of everyone expects you to pay for everything all the time? And also too, think about how people treat you when they're not using their own money to, say, go out to dinner, where they're ordering, like every time it's lobster, steak, the most expensive bottle of wine on the menu, this kind of thing, because it's not their dime, it's your dime. People treat you differently when they know that you've got money. And again, people who have sort of this experience where your wealth, your bank account, these kind of things is in a much greater and better situation than people around you. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. And again, my advice is keep it to yourself. That's what Tim's advice is as well. Just sort of the things and the ways that people treat you. The other thing too I thought was fascinating when he was saying that after you win the lottery, many strangers reach out. Be it, everyone's got some sort of tragedy in their life, right? Medical emergency, these kind of things, and they'll write you these long letters of why they need the money. Or maybe people have business opportunities that they like, hey, we're gonna make a lot more money together, just listen to my pitch, etc. But you don't know these people, right? These people are all strangers. And in addition, you still have the friends and family that are all asking you for money as well. One of the first things that Tim did I thought was fascinating, and I completely get it. He went out and he bought the best video game system ever. Because when you're young, right, that's all you really need to be happy. Is you just want, like, I want the best video game, I want all the new video games, etc. These days, you guys know this, there's actually only 1 or 2 games a year that are actually really, really good. And what's funny is when you have money compared to when you don't have money, when you don't, you only buy those 1 or 2 games, and then when you have more money, you end up buying every game, but like, you only play those first 2 games anyway. You end up wasting all your money on all these games that you don't need. And it's actually kind of similar with the car situation. So you fall on a bunch of money, you go out and you buy that new car that you've always wanted. And then, like, after that, I mean, are you gonna buy like second and third car, fourth car, right? You actually don't need that many cars in your life. You just have all this money and you feel like you have to do that. Now, one thing that Tim did do, which I think was smart, and I advise you to do as well, is he started, meeting with essentially personal financial advisors. And I'm not here selling you any kind of advisor, anything like that. I know that there are YouTube channels out there that say, hey, call me up, I'll be your personal advisor, or call my friend up and use that link, and they'll be your personal advisor, this kind of stuff. I'll just say, go with someone that makes sense for you, but just do be careful out there, because there's some people that don't have your back. That's real. But essentially what Tim did, I thought was smart though, is he figured out a way to structure his investments, be it stocks, bonds, CDs, etc. And mutual funds, right, to figure out a way to set himself up for life. And the thing that was interesting, and a lot of people don't realize this, is that even if you fall into a bunch of money, or even if you suddenly have a lot more money at your disposal, you still need a budget, right? It's not really wise or smart to go buy a new car every day, or go buy a new house every day, take that European vacation every day, right? Like, you still need to have a budget. Yes, you have more money, but it doesn't mean you have unlimited spending. It just doesn't really work that way. And I know this is something that I unfortunately is stressed on YouTube all the time, is like everyone just wants to flash their money all the time. And there's a lot of downsides to that. That's sort of why I'm having this conversation with you. I'm sure you know this as well, anyone who's following the money. It's also harder to make real friends. The thing that I thought was, and be partners as well, real relationships. The funny thing that he said, again, the guy who won the lottery, he said it was better and easier dating when you didn't have any money opposed to when you had money, right? And I know there's some kids out there that think, oh, if I just made more money, then it'll be easier for me to date, more people will like me. Not necessarily. Now, I will be honest with you. It is nice to have some money, right? And I mean by some money is like, it's no fun where you want to, ask someone on a date or something like that, and you can't even afford to drive over to their house, or you can't even afford to, pay for the movie, right? Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like you're stressed out about the movie or that thing. It doesn't mean you can't date, right? I'm not saying that you have to have money to date, but yes, that you do need some level of money so you're not stressing out about like things to do. So that part's true. But there comes a point to where, what are you going to do? You're going to buy the whole movie theater to impress, you said date, right? You only need so much money. You got enough money for the tickets, and that's great. The other thing that I thought was funny as well is he talked about, even though you have a bunch of money, don't think that your life is suddenly end and you're just going to sit on your money and sit by the beach the rest of your life. He said, and I'm sharing with you, I completely agree, you still want to have goals in life, right? You still want to have a reason to wake up in the morning. The difference between when you have money and don't have money is you have a lot more time. You have a lot more time to plan what you want to do, to think about what you want to do. You're not under the gun, under the pressure, to work for a boss that you hate, which I've told you guys so many times. For me, I've quit a lot of jobs. I've said no to a lot of jobs, even just last week. True story, the radio station called me up and they asked me to come back on again, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I'll never do that again. And there's some things that, and for me it was the radio thing, and everyone's gonna have their certain thing that you just will never do again. No matter what they pay you, it's just not worth it, right? And essentially, when you have money, you still work. You just look for things that sort of fulfill you, right? So for example, in the Tim situation, he likes movies and films, so he said he produced a couple movies, he runs a film festival, this kind of stuff, right? But there's still things that he wants to do in your life. So don't think necessarily that your working life ends, because you get bored, right? And also too, if you have too much free time on your hands, all you do is spend money all day, every day, right? You got to occupy yourself with something that doesn't necessarily spend money. The other thing that I think is smart as well, and it goes back to him managing money and figure out a way to set himself up for life, is educate yourself all the time. Also to find other people that you can identify with and sort of share experiences with that make sense for you. So in his situation, I think he started a podcast, and I think he does a YouTube channel or something like that, where he talks to other lottery winners about how their life has changed. And psychologically speaking, that probably was really good for him. But this is for anything at all. And this is actually a big theme of my book is whatever industry you're in, or whatever hobby you like, whatever profession you want to pursue, go to the place where there are other people just like you. Go to events where there are other people just like you, right? There's all kinds of events and situations and ways that you can meet people just like you, and you'll find that, like, conversing with other people that have similar interests and topics that they want to talk about, you'll find that really healthy. It's sort of like for me, I'm just today's topic of the day was like what happened and how do you handle being a lottery winner. I like having these conversations. These are the conversations that I had with my wife when I was younger. And actually, I was lucky is the right word. I'll say very, very fortunate and lucky. We'll put it that way. And I always bring that up because I always debate what is luck and what is not luck. But I was fortunate. My wife advised me early on not to talk about my income to people around me, because when I first came to Korea, my first job was okay. I was actually saving quite a bit of money because I was just used to living cheap. And I've always maintained that lifestyle. And then I actually switched jobs and tripled my income in a year, which I look back and laugh because, like, my lifestyle didn't really change that much. I still did the same stuff I did before, in the same way that Tim was. I was happy having the best video game ever, and that's about it. I didn't need the fancy car and that kind of stuff, and didn't need to buy all the fancy clothes all the time, and basically socked my money away into investments, stuff like that, and which ended up paying off in the long run. And essentially what you want to be doing is you want to be putting your money into things that go up in value, right? And essentially you grow money and you become even more secure in your life. But it doesn't mean that you just blow your wad on everything. I think for some people, and it's hilarious when I read comments on YouTube or I see social media, I think for some people they think the only way that you can prove you have money is if you're driving around in a Lambo. I find that really just funny. I understand that kind of thinking, like people have this need to show other people that they have money, but all that really shows is that you can spend money, and you certainly had the money at the time, but now it's gone on said car, and then suddenly everyone around you thinks you've got even yet more money, and maybe are just how can I say, treading water to maintain that Lambo. And now you got more people asking you for money. You guys can kind of see how this can spiral very, very quickly. And this goes back to sort of Tim's thing, was like, he wished he would have kept it private. So he didn't have a choice. This was back in 1999 when he won the lottery, and it was just all public all the time. In your situation today, if you win the lottery, or if you get a really good job, or you get that bonus, or maybe you get that promotion, you don't necessarily have to share it with everyone. And in fact, I mentioned this in the video just yesterday, and it's an uncomfortable topic, but I'll try to I'll say, how about this, dance around it delicately. In my Vietnamese side of the family, which I met a few months ago for the first time. If you don't know the story, it's in my book, and I made videos about it as well. But we were separated for 48 years, and that's a really long conversation. But there were various dynamics in the family to where, like, if one family member has success, they're expected to share the wealth with all the other family members. And the issue is like, what if you have tons of brothers and sisters? In my situation, I do. I'm the middle child out of 9 kids, which is absolutely insane. It's a whole other story. But and then what if all of your brothers and sisters then have kids as well, right? And I'm telling you guys, everyone's always got a need for something, right? Everyone's always got a need for something. And then what happens if, like, they marry into another family, and then you got like another extended family, and they all got needs for something, and then the list is going to go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. There's never going to be a time to where, if people know you have a lot of money, to where like someone isn't like, hey, can you help me out with this car? Can you help me out with my kids' education? Can you help me out with this business opportunity? There's always going to be that sort of thing. And it's like, at the end of the day, I honestly agree with Tim, you're better off just keeping to yourself. I actually have a friend who's in VC capital. We all know he's got money. I won't say he's like a close friend of mine. I'll just say I know him, but I never asked the guy for money. It's just awkward. I'm just not that kind of person. But I know a lot of people do. And it's kind of weird, especially on social media, and I'm sure you guys understand this kind of stuff, is like whenever he puts a post or something like that, there's always people who are kissing up to him and stuff like that on social media. And for those kind of people, they never know if, like, do these people really like my jokes or they just want me for my money. And I've had this conversation with many friends in this situation, and actually oftentimes they call me up for advice of these kind of things, like, hey, what should I do? What do you think about this person? That kind of stuff. And it's, how can I say, when you make friends with people and you know people before that you realize how much money they have, or you meet people like, and you know them before they have money, and then you also know them after that they have money, like you know someone like really, really different. These are really, really complicated discussions, right? And I guess the kind of advice that I'm giving to you, I just want you to be thinking about as well, and it goes back to that first question I posed to you. If you win the lottery, would you share it with the world? Would you share it with a few select people, or would you keep it to yourself? Generally, it's just part of relieving stress. It's always great to have one or two people that you can talk openly about that stuff. But there's very few people in the world that you need to talk openly about this stuff, right? Don't feel like you have to tell people, all the time. In my family situation, and there's a sibling that has. I won't say rich, that's not really the right word to say. We'll just say it has more money than other people. That's a better way to put it. Or more money than other people in the family. The problem with that person is no one ever really sat down with them and had these kind of discussions about how to manage money, how to deal with people, how to say no, which is like a really tough conversation, because like there's always someone that has some sort of story about why they need the money, etc. And you know, one of the things that you want to do just to avoid these problems, you know, altogether, is just not like be broadcasting it all of the time, right? You'll find your life much happier. And you know, if you do ever fall in the money, and this is something that, you know, I think you should be doing right away, and it's something I always stress so much on the channel, you know, pay off everything, secure your future, make investments to where you're going to be living off dividends, these kind of things, right? Also to, you know, find a place that you like to live, pay for it all, right? And take care of yourself, right? So think of ways to where you're going to be in things to where you're going to be secure, and you're going to be golden, right? Don't be worrying so much about like, hey, I got to take care of everyone else. Take care of yourself first. Put yourself in a solid position, and you know, you'll make much better decisions later on. And trust me, if you do end up wanting to help your friends with whatever you want to help your friends with, they'll always be there. There'll always be friends to help, though. You'll have new friends to help. But take care of yourself. And I don't want to give the impression ever that you should be, you know, greedy or selfish or something like that. And I'm just kind of, how can I say, talking to you in a position of practicality on these kind of things, because we have these conversations in a prior video about, you know, choosing your spouse is a really important, you know, issue as well. So anyway, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. We'll continue these discussions. I run across an interesting article that I want to share with you, and this one is a fascinating one, is should you share whether or not you've won the lottery? So thanks again for your time, everyone, and I'll catch you all in the next video.